Hey, what's up? It's Jason. I'm back again with another video, and I got a little bit of an update here for the month of April, the end of April. A fairly large stack of vinyl to show you guys, most of which I picked up yesterday, actually. This is all vinyl I picked up in Toronto over this week and last week. A couple of CDs maybe at the end, too, if we got a little bit of time for it. But I think I'll just jump in. I went to three shops on this journey for this video. Sonic Boom is going to be at the end. I've got a few from there. Popped into Kops Records, which is close to Sonic Boom in downtown Toronto. I think Brian kind of reminded me by watching some of his videos. I think they went there recently. I don't usually hit up that spot just because they have a huge supply of singles in the basement, but that's not always open. And I haven't found a lot of stuff in the last few times I went, but since it's been a while, there was a whole bunch of new stock that I hadn't seen. Got some really good deals there too, actually, very good prices. And also I hit up Invisible City, which is one of my favorites, across the street from Sonic Boom. Got a lot of cool funk, soul, etc. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff in here. We got jazz, we got punk, funk and soul, disco, and other goodies. So let's get into it. Starting off with a single. I got this fashion single. This is Street Player Mechanic Mix, or Street Player slash Mechanic. Very cool synth pop. These guys started out as like a post-punk band from the UK, 78, 79, and as they moved towards some of the early 80s, they got more synth pop esque and electronic. So I had their debut album before, but I wasn't too big on it. It was like okay, but I'm really digging these singles, so that was kind of a cool find. Another single I found while digging at Invisible City was this one, also in their synth pop section, also from the 80s. This is Troy Tate and Love Is the Dance Mix. He's got a few solo records. Basically, he was involved with The Teardrop Explodes, and he was also briefly involved in Fashion, which I just showed, but I don't think involved enough to be on any of the recordings. This is on Celluloid, great New York / France label, I think, which at one point split up into two Celluloid labels. So anyway, this is a French pressing, or European pressing anyway, and it's the track Love Is. Really cool stuff. I wasn't aware of this artist at all, really. I mean, I know a little bit about Teardrop Explodes, but I don't have any of their stuff either, but maybe I will investigate more. But yeah, Troy Tate, cool single, solo single. I got a little bit of funk disco here as well with Alma Faye Brooks doing it. This is an album, came out in 79, and this is the Canadian pressing, which I think has a different cover from the US pressing. This is what the back looks like on that. Basically good cheap disco here. This was only like $6, and actually I did a big trade at the record shop too, so I swapped out some records that I wasn't listening to and got some new stuff to listen to. So yeah, very cool funk and disco, and of course kind of a rarity for back in the day, some colored vinyl from 1979. There you go. I think the story behind this girl, actually, she's Canadian American singer, born in Texas but lived in Montreal for a long time, and actually was nominated for a couple of Canadian Junos, I think, in the 80s. First time hearing her stuff, very cool. Next up, I got a jazz record, European jazz label ECM, very well known, totally cool record, bit of a blind buy. Actually, they have a listening station there, so I was able to listen to some of the stuff. This is Art Land and the Rubiza Patrol, Desert Marauders. Killer track on this is side A, which is a 15-minute long journey. A little bit funk fusion in the jazz. Really great stuff. This is from 80s, 1978 actually. This record again on the ECM label. Cool. Jazz. The artist himself is from New York, but lived a little while in Europe. That kind of rounded out my trip at Invisible City. Then, like I said, I made my way over to Kops in Toronto, which Kops spelled with a K-K-O-P-S. Had amazing deals that I have to say, were very well received, including a dollar bin record. I got a dollar bin record here of Romeo Void. Never Say Never. I think this is actually a double because I've got the original that has the cover. Romeo Void, U.S. California-based post-punk band that also leaned a little more danceable in later years. And this is Never Say Never. Came out in like 81 or something. Yeah, 81. And for $1, I had to pick it up. I must admit that I seem to get Romeo Void sometimes mixed up with Canadian band Rough Trade, Carol Pope's band. I don't know why, just in my head, it gets mixed up sometimes. Everybody knows this compilation. In fact, I already have the picture disc version of this, but it doesn't play very well. So I thought I'd just snatch this up for $7. It's called No Wave, but it's absolutely not the no wave music scene at all. It is all new wave. New wave and sort of post-punk stuff. UK Squeeze, The Police are on here, Joe Jackson, double tracks by most of these bands. The Dickies is on here, and David Kubnik, The Secret, Clark Kent. That rounds it out. Yeah, good little comp for cheap. Why not pick it up? Like I said, it's not no wave music, as in the New York experimental music scene, but is some new wave. This is something that was totally new to me. Also a nice find. Punk band, post-punk really, from Canada, from Mississauga, where I'm actually videotaping right now. This band was in the 80s called No Man EP. No Man EP4. Came out on the Burlington label, Mannequin Records. Of course, there's a Mannequin Records now that does a lot of synthwave and synth releases. Nothing on the labels here to see. I think this is it's a white vinyl. But yeah, really cool stuff. I think they started off with a drummer, but he left, so they then adopted a drum machine, I think, around the time of this album. And yeah, that's what it is. No Man EP4, by Kinetic Ideals. Sorry, the band is Kinetic Ideals. The EP is No Man. There you go. Really cool stuff. Sounds awesome. Post-punk. Another kind of blind buy or unknown to me was this punk compilation. Maybe some UK viewers will recognize this. I don't know. It's based on a UK label / maybe club in the 80s. System Beat, the name of the comp. It is chock full of rarity stuff. I honestly don't recognize any of the bands on this thing. Bulkhead, Camera, No Place, Fruitful Jake, In Egypt. I think Citron Girls, Category A, Son of Sam, Champagne. I don't know if I'm reading the song titles or the band names because I don't recognize any of them. But it is on the 1 in 12 club. A few releases on this label, or this compilation label, I guess, back in the 80s. Kind of a rare one to find, and I found it for only $7. So definitely we'll take a chance on $7, but yeah, it actually sounds really cool too. There's a variety of styles, post-punk, punk, etc. I got some funk and soul again here to show. Little David Ruffin, who is the lead singer of the Temptations, I believe. I have a couple other records by him. Didn't have this one. Has some piano by Van McCoy I see on here. And yeah, it's on Motown, Canadian pressing. Motown. It's called Who I Am. I believe there's a couple of good jams on this one, so it was also pretty cheap. The most expensive record I picked up yesterday on my hunt at Kops was this reissue. Almost had to grab it just for the cover alone. One thing that kind of bothers me though, on this reissue, it's a little bit taller than the regular size sleeve, so it may look a little weird on my shelf. I don't know, but this is Ray and His Court, and when he means his court, he means his family. It's actually his wife and 2 kids, I think. Very cool salsa, funk, Cuban funk styles out of Miami. This originally came out in '73. Some old school stuff. Tracks are all pretty short too, 2 to 3 minute long. But yeah, just really cool Latin Cuban funk. I guess maybe you can find the OGs out there somewhere, but I've never come across it, and I decided to grab this reissue. Reissue done by Mr. Bongo, which is a label slash record store in the UK that has moved around quite a bit. Even had a shop in Japan for a while. That is Ray and his Court. That's going to be a cool one. Also, speaking of Miami and Florida, got a freestyle single here by Debbie Deb, When I Hear Music, which I immediately recognized from really cool. I mean, it's been sampled many times, but there was a really cool 2000s era tech house, kind of glitchy tech house track by Duke Dumont, I think, on Turbo Records that did a total remake of When I Hear Music. Just sliced up and cut up that vocal. Original sounds dope as well. It was a little pricier for a used single, $15, but really cool one to get. Then this is a double. I have this single already with the original sleeve. This is just a generic sleeve, but this is E.G. Full of Love. Huge, huge jam in the 90s, mid-90s, called Didn't I Know? Divas to the Dance Floor. Of course, with Junior Vasquez's remix on here that was absolutely massive. Takes up the whole side. No, just a huge track, 12 minutes long. Big breakdown, etc. A couple more remixes on the other side. This artist, I'm assuming, I think they're from New York, and they only had a few singles, kind of their lifelong dream to put out a single, I guess, from the Discogs info. This was really big when it came out back in '94. I remember playing this record a lot, hearing this record a lot in clubs in Montreal. Just a total classic jam. Sort of New York hard house style that Junior Vasquez was very known for at his Sound Factory Club back in the 90s. And again, one more single here, The Twins. This is kind of new to me, and I think these guys are actually still going. German synth pop band. This is The Desert Place and Night, Lights, and Shadows on the flip side. Cool ass single. Again, sort of synth pop, kind of funky a little bit. Definitely works for me. And finally, I got a small stack here from Sonic Boom, which I normally hit up often just to see what's going on in the bins. This record I think I've had before, but I haven't seen it in a while, so I grabbed another copy. Sky is the band, and the album is Skyline. I think in the UK there's another band called Sky, so in the UK it has to go by a different name. But New York City-based band on Cell Soul Records. That kind of says it all, right? Disco and Boogie. Let's Celebrate is on here, which is really great. It's not the Cool and the Gang song at all. But yeah, just really good, funky, soulful boogie. Also from the New York area, we got Tana Gardner. This is on the West End label, West End Records. This is Tana Gardner's Work That Body this time. She's got quite a few cool singles. This is a record I found on the street. There's actually a street vendor at one point outside, not too far from the record shops I was going to in Toronto. EPMD, So What You Saying. A killer single from the first album. One I actually did not have. I have everything pretty much I need to have from the golden era of hip-hop, including from EPMD, who I've seen perform once, actually. A very short set. But yeah, So What You're Saying, it's cool mix. And back to, some more funk. In this case, jazzy funk. This one was a total blind buy, interesting find. Dave Valentine, Land of the Third Eye. I hadn't seen this record before, or taken notice of it anyway. This is the guy. Doesn't exactly scream disco, funk, soul from that picture, but yeah, he's a flautist and doing some really cool fusion, jazz funk fusion here from the 70s. It's got to be 1970s, this record. Let's just take out original inner sleeve here, the picture again. And it's on the Arista GRP label, 1980. Same labels as I've got Tom Brown stuff, who's also jazz funk fusion. Dave Valentine, that's cool. And last but not least, a little bit of prog rock just to round things out. Was it in the cheapies? Cheap bin, only $5. Classic old school Yes record. This is a compilation. I think actually yesterday's. I think it's like a greatest hits compilation. It's a original inner sleeve as well. Came out in 1974. So look at that. A lot of my 70s era of my collection has been building up quite a bit. I'll make a quick mention of a couple CDs I also got from that street vendor. Well, everybody knows that one. That was these were like 3 CDs for $10 or something. So Greatest Hits by Sly and Family Stone, which I've had many times. This was kind of a cool throwback for me. Greenskeepers. This was a band. Well, really Jack and House producers slash DJs from Chicago called Greenskeepers. Put out this album called The Polo Club. And the CD actually comes with a bonus CD, a mix CD. I got one of them in the player now. But yeah, this is like mid 2000s funky Jack and House. The original music, some of it, you could actually fit a lot of this because it has a live bass player for most of it. You could fit a lot of it into that indie dance kind of vibe that was really happening in the 2000s. You know, the DFA label, LCD sound system, a little bit sort of more of a Chicago Jack and House take on that whole kind of sound. It's a bit loose, basically. I really prefer the mix CD though at this point. Just some great tracks. And actually, a lot of their own tracks in the mix CD. And for compilations, this was the thing that actually got me looking at the CD bin or picking up these CDs. This is the one here, Studio One Scorcher on Soul Jazz. Anything Soul Jazz Records puts out is going to be quality. And I don't have a lot of reggae or dub at all in my collection, so I thought this is a great way to start. It's all instrumentals, but the CD has been burning a place in the CD player right now in the car. Just been playing track after track. Actually, I got to skip forward a few tracks because I keep sort of playing the first 10 tracks every time we drive. But Studio One Scorcher instrumentals. I'm not sure when this came out, like sometime in the 2000s. I wouldn't mind picking up on vinyl even too. Those Soul Jazz Records out of UK, great compilation label. So that's my update. Beyond that, I also got to see Gang of Four. Maybe I'll try to attach some video at the end from that concert, which was amazing. And I will see you guys next month.